Good morning, and welcome to the Journey of Grief, Becoming Us Without Them, where we try to create a space for people to learn about grief and know that all the ways that they're grieving are exactly correct. And today I've invited Jorge Luna to come and talk to us about his work in grief. So, Jorge, why don't you tell us about yourself and what you would like us to know about grief?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And I'm relatively new to therapeutic, context of counseling, but I've been a pastor for over 35 years. I retired about a year ago and have been pursuing other forms of work. And long-term plan is to become a full-time counselor in private practice. But in the short term, I've had the opportunity to work with a number of people in different forms of grief, some that we might think of right off the bat, losing a loved one. But other folks experiencing grief while their loved ones are still present, whether they're sick or in a state of decline, and even working with and being very good friends with a person who has been given a terminal diagnosis, for about 3 years. And seeing how he's processing that grief and loss is very, very intriguing. So I'm in the middle of a multitude of journeys and learning myself all the time.
It's great. So, why don't you say more about any or all of those and what you would like the folks watching this video to know about grief?
The first thing that comes to mind is processing that through the lens of a faith, where people are often, whether they're in some sort of the traditionally thought of grief cycle of questioning, right? Or maybe even bargaining with God about why is this happening, or what did I do, or having a concept that this isn't right. And that's a difficult thing to process with people. So in my many experiences, it's been walking beside people, not trying to necessarily answer those questions because they may be very unanswerable, right? We don't have all the whys of why someone my age would get a terminal diagnosis when they seem otherwise, healthy. And there's processes that can be helpful, but some of what I've been able to do as a pastor is simply be with people and listen as they process it in their own way, and to encourage them, as you said actually earlier, that all of the ways to process it are part of life. I guess I would say it this way: grief is natural and normal, part of our human journey, and how I process it's probably going to be different than how someone else does. And being there for people while they process it is probably the most important thing.
So, what do you mean when you say process it? People hear that phrase all over the place. I'm
Sure.
processing right now.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, for me it means working through some steps that either they've created in their mind or they've heard, whether it's the Kubler-Ross type of perspective that, seems linear, but oftentimes isn't. And people may bounce between acceptance and then something happens and they go back to anger or denial. I'm working with a person right now who lost her mother 1 year ago and seemed to be doing rather fine. But this combination of Easter, which was a very important holiday, and then looking towards Mother's Day, which is coming up next month, has kind of spun her backwards into some of that sadness and maybe even disbelief. Like, I can't really, I can't believe she's not here this Easter, or we would normally be having Easter dinner right now, and we would have gone to church together. And so the processing, I guess, another way to say it would be just working through at your own pace, or experiencing in different ways. I guess that'd be the best way I'd say of processing.
So, as a pastor, what are what are the greatest challenges that come up for people when they are thrust into the process of losing a loved one or a life or all the other major losses people sustain?
Probably the experience of God as present, immanent. Theologically, the big concepts are God as other, transcendent. He exists out there above human experiences. But for people of the Christian faith, they also understand God to be immanent. Like Jesus was here. Jesus was a person familiar with grief when he lost his friend, when he lost his cousin died, even when he met someone else who died, he experienced sadness, right? And even though he might have had, or he did have the big picture of life after death, and even that he had the ability to restore life, it still was sad for him that John the Baptist died, or that Lazarus died, and that he saw other people's grief, and was able to connect with them and understand. And walking through grief with people and somehow dialoguing about the very real presence of God, and that God understands what we're going through. God isn't afraid of our challenges or even our questioning, and he's not disappointed when we don't experience grief the way other people think we should, or maybe even how we think we should. And so I'd say pastorally, those were some of the biggest challenges. And now as I'm, moving into therapeutic contexts, uh, giving those perspectives to people who are open, like, hey, it's okay. It's okay that you're sad on Mother's Day, that your mother's not here with us. I'd actually be concerned if you weren't, right? And then helping, people to dialogue and make sense of what they're experiencing. And maybe that's a better way to talk about processing, is to make sense of something, to yourself and to others.
Yeah. So if someone came to see you, they called and said, I'm working through grief, what would they expect? So, what would happen first? What would be the journey? And what would you hope that therapy with you would get them?
Hmm. Yeah, I would ask hopefully a bunch of great questions to hear and understand the story. What was this person's relationship? Was there elements of that relationship that are worth making, meaning of to them? And for me, for people, even in my brief experience, it does go back in many cases to things undone, regrets. I wish we would have been closer, or I wish I would have done this thing, or I wish I would have done this thing more. And then to be able to dialogue about that and to help people come to their own, using their own skill set, using their own tools, to come to their own ways of healing, whatever that looks like for them. And it's really different for everyone. I'm rather intrigued by elements of grief, how I've experienced them compared to how they're experiencing. For some people, very tangible markers, things like a tombstone or a day, a date, are rather important. Where in my experience, they're less important. For example, when my mom passed away, we had a funeral, we had a celebration, but there's no tombstone. We were just, it's not part of our culture to, bury someone in a place. And yet for other people, that's extremely important. And they've already made their plans, and they've already purchased this plot or this tombstone, and they want things a certain way. So helping people understand why that's important to them, and then, being able to maybe even celebrate some of the grief as natural, normal. Hey, this person really meant something to you. And the fact that you're grieving is really something very human and beautiful. There's elements of grief that are beautiful because we tend to grieve things that we care deeply about. And so helping people understand that together. Yeah.
So, talk about your own journey of grief. How have you been thrust into the grieving
Hmm.
club against your will?
Yeah, a few ways. Some of it has been a little bit of, I guess, loss of dreams. Some of it started with COVID. I had some ideas about where my career trajectory was going to go, and I've had some really good experiences and some that were pretty rough. And uh, there's elements, and I'm actually still in the middle of it. Some of it, looking back, makes you really question choices that you made. For example, I started in ministry very young, age 20 was my first job in a church, and I worked, continuously for 35 years and made tremendous sacrifices for my family, financially, vocationally, getting training, going to seminary. And when I look back now, it's difficult to fully appreciate all those things and decisions as being completely positive. Like part of me thinks, why didn't I, go get this other job like these other people, and I'd be retired right now instead of kind of restarting my work life. And there's some grief in that because as part of our culminating project in seminary, we wrote out basically like a vision or a dream that we had for ourselves. And when I go backwards and look at it, my life has not followed that. And I hadn't reached those goals that I wanted to. And there's elements of grief. It's a loss. It's a loss, uh, not fully similar to someone losing a loved one, but it's definitely a form of grief that is tangible. And I'm still experiencing it and processing through what it means and why learning to let go of some things, learning to accept others. Mhm.
It's great. And then how about losses of loved ones?
Yes, there's a couple of those. My mother, about 13 years ago, she was young and had us very young. And so she suffered the last 10 years of her life through various illnesses. So there was like this long process. And when she did pass away, it made me wonder why I felt certain things and why I didn't feel other things. And then just a couple years after that, my older sister, who's just 2 years older than me, died, rather young. And then her nephew or her son, my nephew, died the next year of a unfortunate, drug overdose. And those, when somebody's in their mid to late 20s, it just this doesn't cross your mind that that person wouldn't be with you. And so how I've experienced each of those, personal losses has had to still think about that and still wonder about it. It's been 13 years with my mom. My dad's still alive, so we do process some of that together. And then when I was 18, I had a friend in high school who had Hodgkin's disease and seemingly kind of beat it, went into remission, but then died as a freshman in college.
Mm.
And now one of my very close friends, 35-year plus friend, was recently diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. He's just 3 days younger than me and has been a very good friend, very faithful, person of his own walk with God. And we were eating lunch last week, and he said to me, "What would you do if you had 1,000 days left to live?" And I just, what kind of question is that? And he said, "Well, I've kind of done the math, and that's about what I have left to live." And I'm grieving that because I'm imagining what that might be like 3 years from now. We won't even be 60 yet, so just seems so young. And all the things he didn't get to do in life that he wanted to do, all the things that maybe we thought we would do together in our older age. But so that's a different type of grief because it's real and you're watching it happen in real time before it fully happens. But you are also grieving what won't happen or what you think won't happen. And yeah, so I've kind of experienced all those different types of patterns of loss, and some of them I'm still right in the middle of.
So how are you supporting him? That's That's a question that I often hear from people is they just don't know how to be with people that are grieving.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I actually asked that very question of him quite a bit. He's a psychologist, so he has a keen insight into the human condition, and I will literally say that question: How can I support you? Sometimes I don't know what to say other than I'm sorry and I'm here for you. I feel inept to advise him much about anything unless he directly asks. And uh, I think that would be some counsel that I would have to others is ask as much best you can. Say, I'm not exactly sure how to respond to that because I haven't, been in that exact position much. How can I support you? Is there anything I can do to support you? And it could be tangible things like rides or things that don't seem all that tangible or important at the time, like just going over and watching a movie because that's what he can do today. You know?
Yeah. So when we're grieving, um, a, a lot depends on our past, like what we've experienced, how grieving has been modeled for us. If we have a family that, incorporates death as a natural part of life and knows how to be with people in it and support people in it, and they can really show up and not try to fix it or ignore it or give advice, but just walk along with. That's a huge gift because a lot of people, when they get thrust into grief, discover they don't have the vaguest idea what they should be doing.
Mhm.
And so, what do you think when you look at the people around you and observe people like those families that are really set up for grief? What do you see them doing that the rest of us could learn from?
Hmm. Yeah, I think of the two, polar opposites, which I would say I kind of lean towards one growing up, which is ignoring it, or it is what it is, move on. And uh, there's so much to learn from experiencing grief. And then on the other extreme, maybe living in what could be even diagnosed as persistent grief, where it seems to never improve and it actually impairs functioning and impairs living life. Some of the things that I see people who, process it in a manner that I would say is healthy and is to not ignore it, but to even dwell or even celebrate in the experience of it, but also to have the perspective of the person who has passed. Like, what would that person want me to do with it, right? And I've performed so many funerals, in my life, and it's really common that when people give a eulogy, they talk about, I want to honor this person, I want to do this thing for this person, and I want to, keep their memory alive. And oftentimes it crosses my mind that, well, that person would want you to live in a manner that is healthy and happy. And as a person of faith, I would want people to find their faith and to follow God. And uh, sometimes there are these, I don't know, seemingly superficial things that we do. Like I'm going to create, I'm going to, what was it? We're all going to wear ties on this certain day to remember you. Like, fine, if that's meaningful to you. But if somebody asks, what would you want me to do, when you pass away? I was like, live life and celebrate it and help others and love others. Don't worry about stuff or putting my name on things or, some kind of legacy that is more about vanity. I would want people to really enrich their own lives by investing in others because that's what I had hoped to do with my life. So I guess people that, back to your question, they're not ignoring it. They're not living in it in such a way that it impairs their health. They're in the middle where they can experience it, but also move on in their own, pace and fashion. That ultimately, like we should be better people because we knew each other and loved each other and got to spend time with each other.
Yeah. The neurologists talk about how the best thing we can do to help with the grief is actually spend some time every single day remembering them fondly, because the more
Mm,
you can let yourself remember those lovely times, you get oxytocin. The oxytocin
yeah.
helps release the stress hormones, and it just helps your body move through the agony part of the grief and in back into the parts where you realize you really do still have them with you. You can't get hugs, but the memories are right there and they're as rich in your memory as they were when they happened.
Mm,
So the more we can, you know, walk through the valley of the shadow of death into the meadow, the better. But it's hard. And then finding people who know how to help you with that. One of the people I interviewed said when he meets someone and they say, my brother died or my mom died or whatever, he immediately says, tell me about them.
yeah.
I want to know about them. Help me know them. And that is so helpful to be able to talk about them. But a lot of people want to change the subject or, you know,
Uncomfortable. Yeah. The discomfort. Hmm.
do some happy, happy, joy, joy thing.
Hmm.
And so that, and the most revolutionary idea is people think when someone's grieving that we should be able to do something to fix it or stop it or help it. But really, it turns out our job is very easy if we say, so tell me what's going on, and then just shut up.
Yeah. It's good.
People need us to just be there to sort of attune our nervous system to their nervous system, breathe with them, and let them know all the parts of this story are welcome, whatever. As a therapist, asking someone, so what's the regret that's stuck in your head? Because
Mhm.
sometimes saying that out loud, the I shoulda, coulda, wouldas, just saying them out loud is very helpful, because otherwise you're saying them in here are like your
Yeah.
times tables. So um, I always ask people who very graciously agree to hang out with me to finish us up with your 1 minute wisdom. So if when I make a short of the end of this video, and there's just one thing that you want people to know about grief, what is your 1 minute wisdom that you want people to carry out of this video?
That I'm firmly convinced that God knows, appreciates, and accepts our grief, even while we're in the process of making meaning of it. And God's not afraid of it. And in fact, he welcomes it.
Well, okay. Well, thank you so much. And it's been great hanging out with you.
Oh,
And
well,
I
thank you for your time.
hope to see you in person soon.